Super Meat Boy is known for having one of the hardest platinum trophies of all time. And in this video, I'm gonna see if I can speedrun Super Meat Boy's platinum trophy in under 100 hours. But as you'll see, there was one trophy that was taking over my life. It all started on March 19, 2024 when I decided to start this challenge. The first step of the platinum trophy was to complete the story. I flew by the first few levels of the game, but on level 5 I encountered the first of many warp zones. Alright, so I see this purple thing right here. I think it's what they call a warp zone, so... Warp zones are an additional 3 levels which are made to display new characters' abilities. Some characters are really good, while others are... Only a few minutes later after our first trophy, I was able to unlock Commander Video after completing his warp zone. I was slowly completing all the different worlds when on hour 6 I discovered one of the most important warp zones of the game. What the hell is this? Are you joking me? You see, this is the kid. What makes him special is that he can double jump. He's arguably the best character in the game, which is why his warp zone is no easy task. Slowly but surely I was making it further and further into the level when I was finally able to beat it after over an hour of trying. Thankfully level 2 and 3 were not nearly as hard as level 1, but they were still a little challenging. Let's go! The kid! With the kid unlocked, I was able to achieve some difficult levels with his double jump ability, but in the final world of the story, I was no longer able to use the kid. But that didn't matter as I just put my best foot forward and just thugged it out. Eventually I reached the final boss of the story, but I'm not even gonna lie, this game was kinda scamming me because right before the boss was gonna die, he hit a trick shot. But after eliminating him, the only thing left to complete the game was to run away with Bandage Girl from all the chaos we caused. I even used a pro speedrunning strat to skip the final 15 seconds of the level. Let's go! The end! Now that I've completed the story, I can start the time-consuming 100% process. I was gonna need to complete the Cotton Alley, complete the Dark World, defeat all warp zones, and collect all bandages. So I decided to start with the Cotton Alley. If you thought the previous levels I played were some of the most difficult levels in the game, you are completely wrong. The Cotton Alley showcases some of the most difficult levels in the entire game. For example, a simple 15-second level took me over an hour to complete. Look how many attempts this took me, like this game is no joke. But after way too many hours of trying, I was able to make it to the final level of the Cotton Alley, which at the time was the hardest level yet without a doubt. You need to have perfect movement for a minute straight. What was messing me up the most was the precise jumps at the end of the level, but as they say, practice makes perfect. So I non-stop practiced the level for over an hour straight, which made me develop some muscle memory for some of these jumps. So it wasn't too long before I was gonna finish the Cotton Alley. Suffragette! Let's go, bro. Look at this. Look how many attempts this took, bro. This is crazy. With the Cotton Alley out of the way, instead of completing the rest of the 100% tasks one by one, I'll complete all of them simultaneously. This means for the Forest World, I would complete the Forest Dark World, defeat all of its warp zones, and collect all of its bandages before moving on to the next world. This method seemed to be paying out as I was quickly able to get the Living in the Past trophy for completing 5 warp zones. In addition, for the first few worlds, I was spending no longer than an hour for each world, which meant at this pace, I was probably gonna platinum Super Meat Boy in under 100 hours. But everything went crashing down when I ran into a major roadblock in the Rapture world. At some point I honestly thought this warp zone was impossible. What was different about this warp zone is that you only get 3 lives per level. This means that if you get to level 3 and lose all 3 of your lives, you have to restart back to level 1. But the most challenging level is level 2. Level 2 required you to do some insane parkour surrounded by spikes. Once you got to the top, you needed to pick up a key and slide all the way down to the bottom just to pick up a bandage. But on the way back up is when my hands really got sweaty. I swear on the way back up, the level became 2 times harder because tell me how I died in this attempt. Looking back at this, I was just laughing because I was really raging not even 22 hours in because some of the stuff coming up doesn't even come close in difficulty. But once I defeated this warp zone, it felt like a weight just came off my shoulders. Ah! Oh my days, that took 2 hours. So I continued on my 100% journey. I was able to get the old school trophy for beating 10 warp zones and the busyness time trophy for collecting 50 bandages. I had so much motivation to complete this challenge, so I literally played for like 4 hours straight non-stop. Also, I just wanted to show this crazy skip that I found, which I was going to use in the no death runs later. But eventually, after 4 long hours, I was at the last warp zone of the game, and I was clearly not enjoying my time anymore. Beat this and I'll play warp zone ever again. Let's go! But eventually, all good things come to an end, and I was officially in the end game, meaning I was on the last few levels before I defeated the Dark World. I was struggling on a few levels, but with dedication I can do anything. And in the final boss fight of the Dark World, I got scammed again right before I was gonna eliminate him. But after defeating him, I just had to run away with Bandage Girl one final time. Come on, I gotta do the skip. Let's go! The real end! Beat the game on, expert. But wait, that doesn't mean I've 100%ed the game yet. I still have to complete Cotton Alley Dark, but the one thing I haven't told you yet is to unlock these dark versions of the level, I need to receive an A+ rank first. Thankfully, it's pretty straightforward because all I have to do is defeat the level in under a certain time. Most of these levels were pretty easy to get under the time limit because I've basically mastered the mechanics of the game throughout my 26 hours so far. But one level stood out from the rest, and that was level 20. To receive an A+ for this level, I need to beat it in under 45 seconds. When I first beat it, it took me nearly a minute. So I tried to go as fast as I could, but when I was going fast, I was making dumb mistakes. When I was taking my time, I was going too slow and wasn't reaching the time limit. But after carefully examining the level, I defeated the level with an additional 2.5 seconds to spare. Cotton Alley Dark was not that challenging as I was mostly following a guide to give me tips and tricks on how to defeat these levels, which was going to become very handy in some of the no death runs later. However, at level 16, something very unexpected happened. Huh? I looked back at my progression in the game and I saw that I didn't even 100% the Dark World, but I still completed the rest of the levels as I was going to need to play them in the no death runs, and there were tons of them I needed to complete. So let's start with the easiest one, Wood Boy, for beating Forest Light without dying. Forest Light is the easiest world in the game, so I was beating each level in under 5 seconds. My current strategy was to just start at level 1 and go to level 20. 29 hours in, you would assume I would beat Forest Light without dying on the first try, right? Honestly, that was kind of embarrassing I even died there. But we'll just forget about that as I completed it on my second attempt. Alright, give me my first trophy. Wood Boy, my first no death trophy. For the next trophy, Squirrel Boy, I would need to complete Forest Dark World without dying. Dark versions of levels are almost the exact same thing as the light versions, but there's just a few more spikes and saws in our way. But for some reason, I died way too many times that I'd like to admit, clearly showing that I haven't mastered the basics of the game. Let's go, I did it. I did it. Squirrel Boy. I don't ever need to play this world ever again. But for the Needle Boy trophy, I would need to beat Hospital Light World without dying. And thankfully I beat it on the first try, proving that it's somehow easier than Forest Light. Maybe I just got lucky, I don't know. However, Blood Clot Boy was the first no death run that showed a bit of difficulty, as I was going to need to develop a strategy. I used to play the world from level 1 to 20, but when I tried that on this world, I kept dying in stupid ways and on random levels. So I started a strategy that I was going to use for the rest of the no death runs. I started with the hardest levels and kept the easiest ones at last when I started to get nervous. On this attempt, I was on the second last level before the trophy, and it was one of the easiest levels. I'm not even gonna lie there, I gasped the loudest I've ever had before. But I kept trying with this new strategy, and I received the Blood Clot Boy trophy and the Salt Boy trophy for beating Salt Factory Light without dying. But the trophy Missile Boy for beating Salt Factory Dark is when I really started to struggle. In the previous no death runs, there was maybe only 1 or 2 really challenging levels, but Salt Factory Dark had like 10. I played these levels over and over and found that levels 6 and 10 were definitely the hardest levels, and I struggled on them for a while. But while I'm struggling on these levels, let me tell you about the reason I even platinumed this game in the first place. I decided to platinum Super Meat Boy as a celebration for hitting 100 subscribers, and from now on, every subscriber milestone I hit, I will be platinuming a very difficult and time-consuming game. So if you want me to platinum these difficult games, make sure to smash like and subscribe. Anyway, I found a new strategy on how to make levels 6 and 10 easier. Since the start of the no death runs, I've been using the Kid because he can double jump, but he is really not the best character for every level. In level 6, I use Og mode because he has a smaller hitbox, which makes him able to dodge obstacles easier. In level 10, I use Meat Boy because he's faster. With those implements, I was able to get this attempt. I did it. I did it. Missile Boy! Bro, that trophy took way longer than it should have. Missile Boy was definitely the hardest trophy so far, but it doesn't even rank in the top 4 hardest trophies in the game. But I decided to lay back and complete some easier trophies, such as Brimstone Boy for beating Hell Light without dying, and Maggot Boy for beating Rapture Light without dying. And now there are only 4 trophies left, and they're my personal 4 hardest. So let's start with the easiest one on the list, which isn't very easy. Demon Boy for beating Hell Dark without dying. Now let me tell you that this trophy absolutely broke me. Some of the levels in this world were just so inconsistent and not fun, and the most memorable ones were level 8 and 13. I swear these levels literally gave me nightmares because I was grinding level 8 late at night and this stupid red filter was just mad annoying and hurt my eyes. On this run, I was only a few levels away from getting the trophy and accidentally left one of the hardest levels for last. But right before I was gonna die, I was able to save and quit, which meant I could replay the level and not lose my progress. But for some reason the game just froze and it was impossible to fix it. I was honestly devastated because this meant I had to close the game and restart my no death run. But only 30 minutes later, I was on to another promising attempt and there were only the 3 easiest levels left. But as usual, I absolutely sell. No! After this, I took a break for a day or 2 because I was getting so mad that I sold on 2 really good runs in a row. But when I came back, I was playing better than ever and got another promising run, hopefully for the last time. I just knew in the back of my head that if I somehow sell this again, I will literally go down in the history books. 1 level left, 1 level left. Slow and steady. Oh! Demon Boy! That took me like 4 days. It was around this time when I started to get closer and closer to that 100-hour mark, and it was not looking good. While going for the zombie boy trophy, I started to rage because I was dying in the most dumb and random ways. Most of the clips I have while going for this trophy is just me raging, and it would take way too long to show you all of them, so here's my favorite. But after many more rages, I hit hour 82 and I was on a run that looked promising and eventually hit the last level before the trophy. Please. Zombie boy! Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, this trophy has taken me a week. That is the hardest trophy I've ever gotten before. Spoiler, it does not get any easier as I'm now down to the final 2 trophies, which are the ones that scare people away from this platinum. So let's start with the easier one of the 2, which is for beating Cotton Alley Light without dying. In the Cotton Alley, I'm stuck as Bandage Girl, which means I can no longer use the kid or any other characters which could help me in these no death runs. It's all down to pure skill. The Cotton Alley brings together all the hardest levels in the game and slap them all into this world. I was having trouble getting used to Bandage Girl and her movement because I barely used Meat Boy in the last 60 hours of the challenge. Speaking of hours, while grinding Cotton Alley Light, I was slowly getting closer and closer to the 100-hour mark, and eventually I hit it. So I failed the challenge. It's been over 100 hours on this game and I still don't have the platinum. I was thinking of quitting. I stopped playing the game and instead I planned Minecraft, so if you haven't checked that video, make sure to check it out after this video. But if there's one thing Nick830 taught me, it's to
never back down, never what?
Never give up.
Yeah, I want it louder though. Never back down, never what?
Never give up.
Never back down, never what?
Never give up.
Let's play! Let's go!
I took Nick830's wise words and adapted to his mindset, and at the 103-hour mark, I was on a run that looked like it could be the one. Oh my gosh! Girl boy! It was 1 AM right now. Now it is time for the hardest trophy in them all, Impossible Boy. This is the trophy that separates the normal trophy hunters from the greats. Immediately into my first few runs, I knew that level 19 is going to be the level I start with due to these insane jumps at the end. Like, it took me an hour just to master these jumps, and when I mean master, I mean beat it maybe 50% of the time. From early mornings to long nights, I was playing Cotton Alley Dark and was practicing every level. And it was around the 115-hour mark when I started to get confident to go for runs, and it did not disappoint. Not even 6 hours into going for runs, I had what I thought was my best shot at finally getting this platinum trophy with only the final 5 levels to go. The nerves started getting to me and I made 2 mistakes in a row but was able to save and quit. I'm panicking. Oh my gosh, I think I did it. I think I did it. Impossible Boy! Oh my gosh. Finally. Super Meat Boy, the platinum trophy. Finally. Oh my gosh. I got so nervous at the end there. Am I not just the GOAT for even platinuming Super Meat Boy? So I think that definitely deserves a like and subscribe.